Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Justin McKissick Larry. I hope you're doing well. I'm an archaeologist slash trader. What I do is just, I just be going back and forth communicating with God and stuff like that, quote unquote. And God led me, I've been in Peru for a while as far as just like looking around the area on Google Map. And, just looking and seeing what's going on with the area. This area right here is Lake Titicaca near the Gates of the Gods. You could do your own research about the Gates and the Gods, but it's supposedly like a stargate, basically, or a portal where people have been known to go through this door, and they use the golden disc. So it's dealing with portals and stuff like that, warps and stuff like that. But there's also a myth of something called Space Brothers in Peru. If you do your research about the Space Brothers, even the History Channel got an episode on YouTube about the Space Brothers, so it's real. And they talk about them with near Lake Titicaca, Gates of the Gods. You know what I mean? But when you think of Space Brothers and stuff like that with that type of stuff, you think of Mario, because that's kind of like the story of Mario, right? Mario's running around, uh, going through warp holes and stuff like that, fighting monsters and all that stuff. And that's Mario Brothers came out. It was first introduced to us in 1983. Then a few years later, they came up with the game. So the whole concept came up. Even when you think about with the when they made Donkey Kong Jr. or something like that, then they start going through warp holes and shit like that. But but this is why I was thinking there's some truth to this. So this is South America, right? And look at today's date. It's the 17th of March, 2026, 6:42. South America. Okay. So look, here's the gates of the gods right here. No, that's not the gates of the gods. The gates of the gods is like somewhere up in here. That's irrelevant right now. You can do your own homework. It's near the area. If you go to Google Map and put in gates of the gods, it's gonna be right here. But look, check this out. Remember, when you learn about the Space Brothers, they were fighting giants and stuff like that, monsters and stuff like that. But look at this. Now you know what's crazy in the new Mario Brothers. Uh, what's so crazy about it in the new Mario Brother trailer? They got Bowser shrunk down, right? And what he's doing is actually painting, like to show paint pictures and stuff, right? And that's crazy. They show Bowser painting pictures and stuff like Mario. They didn't like his picture, but look at this. Check this out. Who does look like? If you just use your imagination, don't this give you Bowser feel? Look at the face structure right here where it would have been. Look at the whole face. Look, it got dimples. Look, even his chin. Then around here, we see his eye. I guess this would have been part of his little cheeks or something. Look, the mouth outlined perfectly, right? And look, the nose would have been here, other eye here, and the horns would have been up in here and here, where the space at. Look, could have been here and here. We see how it's like triangular, right? So I'm assuming there was some truth to this stuff back in the days with these monsters and stuff, because there's hieroglyphs all over the earth of things we can't explain. But obviously something was here. And if you learn about those beings, the monsters, they were green skinned monsters and stuff like this. But look, you think I'm playing again? Look at the eye, the mouth, the chin, where the horns could have been and the eye could have been here. But look at this. Look at it. Bowser face right here. Look at the chin. Every time you see a picture of Bowser, he got that dimple. And with the teeth, mouth open like that, and all that stuff. We can't deny this with this, what this could be. Look at the chin. Hold on, let's make this a little bit smaller. And it's crazy to see this, but it's also fascinating too, because it's like it's just like who would have known, you know what I mean? I come across something like this. So hold on, y'all. Let me get back to the Bowser. All right, look at this. Look at the chin. Look, look at the eyes. Where the horns could have been right up in here. You know what I mean? So it gets me thinking like obviously this was a face from a old somebody made. Obviously somebody took their time to draw this. Could it be the monster that looked like Bowser? or could have been, you know what I mean? But why would this be here on Google Earth? You know, and then when I look at it, it's my first time noticing right next to it is a little body of water. That's very interesting. What I want to do is make a documentary. I want to go to South America in this area. I want to travel around South America and talk to people. Um, so fucked up. My bad. Go to South America and I want to do a documentary on this. Find more, talk to elders and the elders, people about the story, about the myths and stuff, and find if there's anything, some truth to this. First person making this story, putting this story out there. So based on today's date, anybody put it afterwards, I'm the original story person, you know? So yeah, again, you can say what you want, but this look a lot like Bowser, in my opinion. It shouldn't get that. Look at the mouth and the dimple and the eyes and where the horns could have been. Like we could just use our imagination for real. I need to look at this 3D. I need to download Google Earth and look at this at 3D and see if this like a hill or some shit, whatever. But I'll say that for another day. You know what I mean? And that's it, y'all. That's why I want to raise the money. I'm gonna need a crew. I'm gonna need I'm gonna need a lot of money for this. This is gonna be pretty big. Um, like I said, there's stories to this. There's stories behind the Space Brothers and stuff like that. Do your own research. But I found the face that could have been a Bowser, or the creature that could have been Bowser. You can't deny what we see though. And remember, there's always, if there's smoke, there's fire somewhere. Nothing is just made up, just like in the past. Out the blue, it's just created a myth, a theory of aliens. That stuff is just not made up. They've been talking about aliens since the biblical days. They've been talking about creatures and monsters and stuff like that. So it's crazy that the story of Mario Brothers kind of matched the Space Brothers story. And could this be the beginning down the warp, our own warp hole? We will soon see. So donate if you're a Mario fan. This is perfect timing for the Mario Brothers. I think Nintendo would appreciate this too. It's Justin McKissick, Larry.